Hi there. Have you ever approached a dentist for your car engine's problem? Definitely he would have fired you, laughed at you, said that if you have car engine problem, go to a mechanic. Why do you come to me? I'm a dentist. If you have any dental problem, come to me. That's what a dentist would say. That's what we call a domain expert. Dentist is a domain expert, carpenter is a domain expert, any mechanic is a domain expert, and that way many domain experts are there. And why we call them domain experts? Because they have studied about their domain, their background. They have quite a lot of experience in dealing with solving the problems in their domain. So that's what each profession is all about. They work in their own domain. But how about a software engineer? Software engineer is supposed to work in each one's domain, and if it's a service sector, if it is a financial sector, if it is a hotel management, whatever be the domain, if the client wants to automate it, he will approach a software engineer, and software engineer has to give a solution for that. The sad part is these software engineers have never studied anything regarding their domain in their school, so have zero idea about their domain, no experience about their domain, and without any knowledge, any experience, they are supposed to give a solution for the client in the client's domain. That's a big challenge any software engineer faces in his or her life. So how can we work on this? The only way to work on this is follow some guidelines like sit with the client, understand what the problem the client is facing, understand the client's requirements, and then gather as much information about the client's domain, understand the client's domain, and then come out with some solution, implement that, and give it to the client. So that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer. One option is to fully understand how to act like a expert in that domain, sitting with the domain expert, understanding every aspects of the domain, and then put it on the software and create a solution for that. Other version is look at the past of that expert, past of the expert in that domain, and see how the expert is behaving for various types of problems. Collect all the past information in the form of data, and then understand for what type of situation how the client or that domain expert was behaving. Just try to understand the behavior without having any domain knowledge about that client. You can just look at the past history of the client for different situations, how the client was behaving, how that expert was behaving, and try to imitate that actions only using that data we have from the past of that. And that is what we call a data driven system. The earlier one, we used to sit with the client, understand the whole domain, and then create our own algorithm and solve the problem. So there we were trying to solve the problem by our own understanding the domain, getting all the domain knowledge, understanding the total problem, and then giving a solution. But today life has changed. We have the past information about how the domain expert was behaving. So just collect all the data that is available in abundance, collect it. And other side, thanks to the technology has grown to such a state that this abundant knowledge what we have in the form of data can be understood, and we can just try to build a model that tries to imitate the knowledge of the expert. So whatever intelligence the expert was having, we are trying to artificially create that intelligence through what we call making our machine learning. So we make our machine to learn from the past data, past history of the domain expert, and then our machine can be made an expert in that particular domain through learning from the experience of the domain experts past history, and then we can make the machine intelligent enough to behave like a real expert, and hence so that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer. That's an artificial version of that expert, so we can call it an artificial intelligence. In all, we have two ways of solving any particular problem. One is understand the domain thoroughly, sitting with the client, and then find a solution. So that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer. Write your own algorithm, write your own code for that, and solve it. Other way, look at how the domain expert was solving the problem. Look at the domain expert's past, collect all the past information, and that information dump it on the machine and ask the machine to learn the pattern, how at various situations the domain expert was trying to give a solution. Can you understand how he was able to give the solution? Understand that and try to give the solution the same way as the expert was given. So that makes the life more easier. So for today's generation, AI ML becomes a easy way of handling any problem, and hence the challenges of the software engineers have little come down. Now if we are trying to implement the AI ML approach for solving any problem, then we need not have complete domain expertise. We don't have to thoroughly understand the domain without having much information of the domain, without having thorough information about the domain. Just by collecting the data from the experts, we can make our machine behave like an expert, though it's an artificial, but still we can make a machine a bit intelligent, and that's what is machine learning is all about. That's what artificial intelligence is all about. And because of this, the AIML is coming up like anything. So that's any software engineer's favorite, because you don't have to. So that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer. Enter into others domain and understand every single aspect of others domain before. So that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer starting your work. Today just the data is sufficient to. So that makes a big ocean level of work, and that's a big challenge for any software engineer. Simulate or just imitate the expert through our machine by machine learning, and that intelligence we have created will be artificial one, and hence we call it artificial intelligence. So that's it for now. Thank you.